My name's Jake Karls. I'm one of the co-founders of a brand called Midday Squares. We want to be the next biggest afternoon snacking business globally, not just in Canada. We're based in Montreal. I'm proud to say we built a manufacturing plant with no experience in food or manufacturing. And I used to be actually the CMO of the company when I started it, and I stepped down from that because I couldn't manage people. And something unique about me is I'm a Rainmaker now, which has a lot to do with marketing and storytelling. But I really believe that you win in life when you are yourself, and that's something that I try to promote and show the world is be yourself unapologetically every day. And if I could do that to anybody, that's a win for me. So we've been doing Midday Squares, my sister, my brother-in-law, and I. So family business, but didn't do this because we're family. We complement each other tremendously. But it's been almost 7 years, almost 7 years. As of August 2025, it'll be 7 years. And it's been a hell of a ride, good, bad, ugly, but we're still standing. We've been building this business, started in Montreal in our condo kitchen, and then we built a factory in Montreal that can now do 130,000 Midday Squares bars per day from 50 bars, literally 6.5 years ago, which is kind of cool. And when we built the brand, we used a unique strategy that works anywhere in the world, more or less, depending on language, obviously, but the idea of just storytelling in an authentic way. And we decided, instead of telling you how, our bars are delicious or that they've got protein, they've got fiber, gluten-free, all the jazz that a lot of companies would typically show in their marketing, we decided to use storytelling and basically show you as a consumer the good, the bad, the ugly of how we build this business. So basically we documented like a TV producer would if they were doing a docuseries, every moment that happened. And what that did was when we showed it in a raw, unfiltered way, the consumer, didn't matter what they were looking for, they were intrigued. Their antennas of attention stopped and was like, hey, what is this company? Who are these people? And what it did was it allowed us to break through the noise, number one. And number two, we were then able to directly communicate with these people because they start to build trust with us. So when they went to a grocery store, whether it was in Montreal or whether it was in Vancouver, they felt like they were buying from a friend. And I always say this, they felt like they were buying from a family member or a neighbor. They were connected to us emotionally. And that was all based on the stories that we were telling. We were showing therapy sessions, breakdowns, milestones, failures, successes, and we were showing the emotions that were part of that journey. And that became our marketing strategy. And when you pair that with product market fit, you really have the sky's your limit. So it works across Canada. It's working in the United States. Hopefully it'll work in the next countries we go after that. But again, radical, authentic storytelling is really what's going to drive all brands, all industries going forward in the next decade. In the early days, what we did is we said, okay, how can we super locally build the brand? So give you an example, we started off with D2C, so selling in the neighborhood and getting products to them. But after that, we went into local spots. So we went to like a bagel shop, then a coffee shop, went to a salad bar. And then we would follow local influencers or local creators in the community that were very popular and see where they shopped. And basically what we would do is we would just put the products in where they shop so they think it's everywhere and then eventually buy the product. And then they would talk about it. And then we would expand to the next step, which would be maybe a regional local grocery store. And then we would win there and then we'd use the data and we would open to maybe a regional provincial player. And then once we were done that and we had the awareness and the excitement, we then do the next city. So we'd move to Toronto, spend exact amount of time doing the exact play-by-play every day and learn the consumers. Even though Canada is a beautiful country, there's still, every province is different. Quebec is different than Ontario. Ontario is different than Manitoba. Manitoba is different than Alberta. And Alberta is different than British Columbia, and et cetera. So you got to kind of learn the consumers in each province. But I think one thing that we did right was we went city by city, province by province, and we didn't waste resources without having the awareness before launching in new cities or new provinces. And that actually helped us win. And it took us time. It took us years to scale nationwide. Now we're available in thousands of stores across Canada, and we have thousands of community and fans and that eat our products daily. But we took our time. We were patient. We utilized storytelling. We utilized local creators, and we utilized a local strategy, build up, and then move to the next city. Early on, people would tell us in the industry that it was gimmicky, wouldn't last. These were early on, like when we were just starting, like, oh, it's cute. Like that was kind of like the word, it's fun. But what's the strategy? That would be like thing. It was always a but what? And it was discouraging, obviously, because I respect all these people. They're brilliant folks. But we stayed true to the strategy, and eventually the views kept going up organically. Like we're talking from like 10,000 to 100,000 to a million to et cetera, et cetera. And then sales would go up with that. So what ended up happening was it went from, wait, this is like gimmicky to this is authentic. And a lot more brands should have a humanized approach to their stories, or potentially if they have, a team that is willing to go on camera, maybe put them on camera. And eventually now what we're seeing in the industry is many brands doing it. Many brands are storytelling in a way that's front facing, humanized, and is not just about the service or product or the features or benefits. It's actually deeper emotions that they're trying to build, and less on the direct return on investment, but more how can we play the long game by building community. And I think that that's something that happened over time. Was originally it was not laughed at is the word, but misunderstood. Now it's being well embraced by many people in the industry. We get calls from agencies, we get calls from other CMOs, and they just want to know how we execute it, how we do it. So we're not perfect, we're far from it. But what I could tell you is we've done, I think, a little bit more right than we are wrong. And that's allowed us to build a fan base. That's allowed us to sell more products. It's allowed us to get investment. It's allowed us to have earned media from the storytelling component. And it's allowed us to build an epic team internally at Midday Squares who has come because they've seen the story and they love the product. So the marketing actually does a lot of network building in all sectors of our business. And I think that the strategy that we're going to talk about at this conference, of that this stuff information, is going to be about stories and how to tell those stories, how to evoke those emotions, is how to build fans. Because even if you're selling technology or a service in that space, it's the same principles as selling a chocolate bar like me. We're still trying to get the attention, and we're trying to get the individual to believe in what we're doing. And you guys are doing the exact same thing, just in a different industry. So going back to the basics of human nature is what I'm going to talk about, but how to utilize that within the corporate world or the corporate development, or how you're going to build your technology, or how people are going to build their consumer brands. It's all the same thing. You need to get attention just like I need to get attention. We're all competing for that little bit of attention. The best storyteller will be the one that gets it. Being a manufacturer here is cool. Being part of like domestic production is really, really fun. But what I would say is, in Canada, what I'd love to see more of is boldness and risk taking. We have a beautiful country. So some of the brightest people in the world live here, by the way, and some of the most creative folks, some of the most intelligent people in the world. I think what I would love to see maybe in our school systems, and even at a younger age, is to encourage the next generation to want to take risks, take down the path of entrepreneurship, try and be rewarded for trying. So be rewarded for taking those risks, creating the jobs, creating something special. And I think that would encourage a lot more of that to happen as a tumbling effect. That's not to say that we don't have an amazing professional world. We do. Without some of these professional services, Midday Squares would not exist. And I just think that we need more of a collaborative approach. And I think that's going to be super exciting to see as we build more businesses and take more risks. And I hope that as we build Midday Squares to be an international business, hopefully a household staple across many different countries, I hope that we could show our fellow Canadians that being unapologetic and being bold actually was rewarding and helped us really build something. And we can hope that more people can lean into themselves and be proud of that. Be proud of what you're doing. And that's really what I want.